There are two big things going on right now that you probably don't know about that can add hundreds of thousands of dollars to your portfolio. And in this video, we'll go over those two things and how you can get started right now to become a millionaire real estate investor. Hi, my name is Ryan Chaw, your friendly neighborhood real estate investor, and I became a millionaire by the age of 28 using a little known strategy which we will cover later in this video. First off, let's go over why you should buy real estate now in 2025 or in early 2026. It comes down to two things, which are taxes and interest rates. First off, let's go over the taxes. Did you know that there are physicians making over $300,000 a year, but they pay very little taxes? Essentially, a physician making $300,000 a year that's involved in real estate investing will pay less taxes than a teacher making $50,000 a year. Now, how is that even possible? Is that even legal? Yes, it's legal, and there are typically two ways that this is done. Now, a quick disclaimer here, I'm not a real estate tax professional, so make sure you consult your CPA for any tax needs, and this is not to be interpreted as financial advice and for informational purposes only. But how this works is a high-income earner can purchase a rental property, and then they rent it out on Airbnb. Then they take something called a short-term rental loophole, which allows them to deduct their debt and expenses from the rental income against their W-2 income. This means they pay very little to no taxes on their W-2 income. And that's because short-term rentals are considered active income and active losses per the tax code. However, what's really special in 2025 is recently the Trump administration renewed something called 100% bonus depreciation. Now, what does that mean? It means that a portion of your rental property can be 100% deducted in year one. Typically, this is a process. You have to do something called a cost segregation study, which usually allows you to deduct 20 to 30% of the purchase price of the property from your taxes. So let's say you purchase a $300,000 property and put it on Airbnb, you might be able to do a cost segregation study to deduct $60,000 from your W-2 income, which means that your first $60,000 that you make, you don't have to pay taxes on. Now, this bonus depreciation can always be deducted against the rental income, but to be deducted against your W-2 income, you either need to use the short-term rental loophole or you become what's called a real estate professional. Another term for this is REP status. Now, the best way typically people make REP status is they have their spouse work in real estate investing more than they work in their W-2, and they also have to work at least 750 hours in the real estate. So it could be like they're a real estate agent, for example. And if one of those spouses meets those two rules, working more into real estate versus the W-2 and working 750 hours, then both spouses get to take the rental deductions from their W-2 income. So let's say you're a physician making $300,000 a year, and then you use that $300,000 to buy $1 million property. 20% of that is $200,000. Well, that physician can deduct $200,000 from their $300,000 income if their spouse is a real estate professional. And they probably get more deductions than that because they can also deduct the property interest, the property taxes, and any repairs they need to make on that property. Okay, now let's talk about interest rates. Most people think you should wait until interest rates drop before buying rentals. This is completely wrong. This is because interest rates and home prices are inversely proportional. When interest rates drop, home prices will rise. Because with lower interest rates, people can afford to pay more for properties. Not only that, but with low interest rates, typically buyer competition increases, which also drives up prices. So what a smart real estate investor will do is actually buy now, try to get a discount on a property because there's very little buyer competition out there. And then in a couple years, refinance their loan when the interest rates drop. That way they get the best of both worlds. They get a discount on the property and they get a discounted interest rate in the future when they refinance it. So now's actually the best time to buy because you're buying properties as if they're on a fire sale. Now let's go over the actual strategy that I used to become a millionaire by the age of 28. It's actually pretty simple. And this strategy allowed me to buy one property a year. What I did is I invested nearby my alma mater college, and I rented out to college students by the bedroom. This is what my buddy was doing. He bought this property at the college and he rented out to his college buddies. So I figured, why can't I do the same thing? And because I rented out per bedroom, it allowed me to double the rental income that I could make on a property. And with that additional rental income and cash flow, I was able to reinvest that into the next property to buy the second property much sooner. And then eventually around year 3 or 4, the property goes up in price. So my property went up about $100,000. And what you can do is take out 80% of that as cash using something called a home equity line of credit. So if it went up $100,000, you can use a HELOC to take out $80,000 of that and use that $80,000 to put as a down payment on the next property, so that you're buying properties using equity rather than using money from your pocket. And that's how people in real estate actually get wealthy. It's not because they have a whole bunch of money to put into real estate. Eventually, you run out of money. Like I said, I ran out of money around year 3 or so, and then that's when you start investing your equity. And it creates kind of this snowball effect where every couple years you're able to double the amount of properties you have because every single property is going up in value, which creates equity on all of those properties. And then you can take all that equity out and double your portfolio every couple years or so. So I hope that was helpful for you. Don't forget to like and subscribe and share it with your friends or those who are struggling with getting started in real estate investing. Thank you again for watching, and I'll see you on next week's video.